Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Lego Marvel Iron Man and Iron Legion vs. Hydra Soldier set, kind of a battle pack like set. It is set number 76288. It has 135 pieces and I paid $16 for this set. It retails for $20, $4 off, 20% off. I think I did a price match or something like that. It seems like on other retailers this can be found at a discount. My box does have a big kind of rip or cut in it. I hope someone didn't cut this in the store and get some of the figures out, but it seems, sealed otherwise, and so we'll see what's in here. But I was interested in this. $20 seemed a little bit steep, but I did want the Iron Legionnaires, so I was interested in that, and so I decided to pick it up when I could get it slightly under retail. And now in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I'll speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So, until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego Marvel Iron Man and Iron Legion versus Hydra Soldier set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. This comes together quick. It's kind of a battle pack, so there's 4 minifigures in here that are pretty darn good, and I go into detail with those in the full review. And then we kind of get a build as well. In this case, it's not a vehicle, it's more like a barricade, kind of a wall, or part of a base for Hydra there, which I actually really liked. And then I spent some time here kind of arranging everything, and now on to my review for this set. Okay, so here we have the Lego Marvel kind of battle pack called Iron Man and Iron Legion vs. Hydra Soldier. This is a good idea for a set. I'm happy to see this, and there's a good amount of stuff to get into for a relatively inexpensive set. And the first thing we will get into is the minifigures, because we do have some. I say it's kind of like a battle pack. I'm not the first one to say that, or the only one to kind of recognize the similarities that is, between this and some of these Star Wars battle packs, or now there's Ninjago and other stuff of that nature. There have been various battle packs. So you do get 4 figures in this set, and I believe for this one, these are all new figures. I don't know if this is the first time they're appearing and they will appear later. I think these are like new versions of different characters, just based on when this sort of set is placed in the timeline of events that appear in the Marvel movies. So I think there's maybe have been some versions of these figures previously, but this is the newest iteration. And the first one we will look at is the Iron Man here. So here we have the Tony Stark Iron Man suit. I can't remember what this one is, if it's like MK 4-3 or something along those lines. I'm not 100% positive. It is a somewhat unique suit to some of the other ones, and I don't know if I have one in arm's length here that I could compare this to, but maybe I'll dig one out here. But there are some really good stuff here. We do have kind of the power blast flickable projectiles that can be fired out of a minifigure's hands. You get 2 of those kind of in this clear or very light blue translucent. Sometimes I'm not sure what these are in terms of colors. And then we also have a number of just studs that go on the hands to indicate the sort of pulsar sort of propulsion things that Iron Man uses, as well as these cylindrical pieces on the bottom under the feet there. So I can pop those off, and I'll just say for this figure, you get kind of extras of all of that besides the actual extra pieces here. So with the Iron Man minifigure, it did say there's 3 of these clear studs, 3 of the cylindrical pieces, and 2 of the kind of power blast things. So you can use those to kind of set up a sort of kind of action thing with the character. Looking at the helmet, this is like the more modern helmet, but we've seen versions of it in the past. Good printing on the front. The helmet is 2 pieces. There's a lot of molding detail around there. This is the one that we can flip open. I think that does make the helmet a little bit big on the minifigure. To me, it looks a little bit more bulky, especially compared to like previous versions, and we'll see a good comparison later in the set, but that is nice. Underneath we have the Tony Stark headpiece that they've been using for a while, so we get this one with kind of the heads up display printed on one side. On the other side we kind of have a Tony Stark with a smile underneath there. Looking at the torso printing, super detailed printing on this one. So we can see like the arc reactor, all the different little like panels for the armor, for the suit. There's some kind of nice gold accents throughout here, as well as some pretty tiny details, up around the neckline and on kind of the hips or the side of the torso there. There is printing on the midsection, and we have printing on the legs all the way up at the top, in the middle, down onto the feet, which is really great. No printing on the arms here. Back of the torso has some great printing as well. Good details, nice kind of metallic looking stuff with the silver and the gold, as well as kind of following the armor's sort of patterning there and paneling. So I think this is a really good figure. I wish I knew off the top of my head which one this is. I don't know if there's a perfect way for me to check. Let me see here. Yeah, this is the MK43, and that's kind of Avengers 2 Age of Ultron era stuff. So this one is nice. It's kind of mostly the dark reddish, almost brown, but like dark red, and then you can kind of see here the printing details are a lot more of the kind of basic red or like pure red than some of what the actual plastic is, and I think that looks really, really nice. There's some good contrast there, and I appreciate that, which is really good. These are intricate printings, very fine lines, and so that's all very good. And then the helmet has like some extra printed details on there as well. That's pretty much this character. I'll see if I can get one to compare this to. Okay, so I grabbed one example. This is the Mark 85 versus the one in this set, which is the MK43. And the interesting thing is, in this other one that appeared in many other sets, including I think the 2023 advent calendar, but this one does use kind of the light blue translucent or blue translucent instead of just the clear, and I think that's a marked difference. But we can see some of the other subtler differences here. One of the kind of finer ones that could be easily missed is that the newer one, this Mach 4.3, has some additional printing on the face for the helmet. So you can see there's some kind of finer lines on here, black lines up at the corner. This one doesn't have any of that. Obviously, these are different designs, so there are other differences. The arms are different color. And then this one being kind of mostly the dark red here, and it doesn't have a lot of that contrast or the different color red at the center, and then just sort of all the extra details. They're both very detailed. I think they all have their place there. There's another couple more little differences, I think, on the side of the helmet for the face. Printing in the cheek area there is a little bit different. Obviously the legs are different, midsection's different, but that's just one comparison. There have been several different Iron Man suits that have been present in minifigure form. The MK 43 one, the one that's present in this set, I believe was around in the first wave for Avenger, or the wave of Avengers Age of Ultron, when that was coming out. But that was maybe, probably verging on 10 years ago now. So it's nice to get this one back. And yeah, I think this is really quite nice. I do like the kind of mix of reds. And then I think like the back of the torso here is really nicely detailed and very cool. So great to get that. The next ones are another thing that I don't know if we had these before. I think maybe there was something previously, and I like this a lot more. So again, these are the Iron Legion or Iron Legionnaires, which are kind of like droid, robotic drone sort of things that have Iron Man armor, so to speak. And these are great. So the colors are right on, kind of the blue and white with the like Avengers logo there. These have the same kind of pulsinator things, pulsar, propulsion type things. I don't know, or repulsors or whatever. So we do have studs on the hands there. And then we have these cylindrical pieces on the feet. And like Iron Man, they do come with like one extra of both of those pieces that is like separate from the extra pieces that I'll typically talk about. And both of these figures are identical and come with the same thing. So you do get more extras of those kind of cylindrical pieces for the repulsors and everything there. So we can look at all of that. These do not use a flip open helmet, which is nice. It makes the helmet a good amount smaller, like just not nearly as bulky, not as tall, and doesn't have kind of the added stuff on the front. So it's really slimmed down there. There is some good printing detail on there I like. The head underneath is just kind of like a dark blue minifigure head here, which is fine. And then looking at the torso, super detailed, not the kind of exact same sort of armor as the Iron Man one, but you can see some of the similarities in the paneling kind of on the abdomen region there. But we have really detailed printing, the Avengers logo kind of up on the kind of crest or the shoulder there. Nice uses of color, nice color blocking, some very fine lines and kind of shading in here to indicate different depth and stuff like that, which is very nice. We do have printing on the midsection, printing on the feet all the way down at the top, middle, down onto the legs, no printing on the arms. And then the back of the torso is also very detailed. We kind of have this like spine looking piece with different panels coming out there, and then up on the top of the back we have kind of the paint job that's from the Avengers logo kind of coming over, that sort of emblem coming over the shoulder there, and some nice detail back here as well. So we can see that both of those are identical. There's no printing on the minifigure head underneath here, and that makes sense. I like these helmets a lot just because it feels like more proportional to me to the minifigure for whatever reason. Like this one, because of the extra capabilities, which is really, really nice, it does tend to feel a little bit big for me because we do add on a significant, chunk of plastic up top there to allow for this, which this is really, really cool. It's similar, I think, to maybe some of these Star Wars ones for like clone troopers where their helmets are pretty big right now. And I know some people have various complaints about that and others are okay with it. Between the two of these, I don't think I would really want to trade off here. I think this is nice. I think for Iron Man it's great to have that, and then I'm glad this is a new piece or whatever that is like more, it's just smaller, more compact, and it feels good. It doesn't need to flip up for any real reason, so that's very nice. And then besides that, we get a one singular Hydra Soldier. And again, I think this is the newest version. Hydra Soldiers were probably around for several years ago, but this is really cool. They do have a stud shooter here that is in their hand. It has purple translucent kind of blasts there, so that's good. And if we remove that, this is really cool. So they do have a helmet, but it's essentially just like a bike helmet or a motorcycle helmet or a race helmet or something like that. That does have a spot for a visor, but it does not have a visor on. But this is one of the helmets, like not the spaceman helmet, so it doesn't have like the chin piece coming around. So it is just a white helmet, but then we get a really, really nice face printing here with the goggles kind of printed on there, and this whole sort of face mask, some good details. The goggles kind of have the impression of like glare or something on there. It gets framed up really nicely by the helmet, so the helmet pretty much goes to like the edges of where the front printing is. There is printing on the back to show like their mask there, as well as the back of the goggles. Looking at the torso, one of the more detailed torsos I've seen, and I don't know if my camera's going to do this justice, but there's like not only is like the color blocking really good and the design of this really good, there is some really tiny details in here in these little kind of white spots on the hip area there. There's kind of a utility belt type thing, and then this sort of armor coming up with the gray, or like the dark gray, kind of gunmetal gray, metallic, and then also the gold metallic all throughout here. I want to say it's gold. There's even, a little bit of color, kind of that blue, purple kind of coming in here around the edges. This is crazy detailed. A lot of really tiny prints in here, thin lines, single dots that do add a lot to the character here, which I really, really appreciate. So I think this is a dynamite torso. I think this is really, really good. We do have no printing on the midsection, no printing on the legs, no printing on the arms, and then the back of the torso is also awesome. This is sort of like repurposing some of the Chitauri stuff, so that's sort of where the gold comes in here, which is awesome. It feels kind of like it's not an afterthought, but it is like a repurposing of something. But we do get the kind of infamous logo here for Hydra on the back, with this sort of octopus-like a creature with the almost like a skull head there. And again, tons of really, really good details in here. So the back of this is, some of the details are kind of mirrored on the back, like in these little small sections. There's some small details in there, kind of up around the collar, but the whole like back panel there is really, really nice. So this is great to get another Hydra figure, an updated Hydra figure. And so that's 4 figures that are all, I believe, like I said, new or updated versions of ones we've got previously, which is fantastic. I like the Iron Man a lot. Great to get Iron Legions, Iron Legionnaires. I'm sure people are going to be wanting to get a bunch of these, so the idea of this being sort of a battle pack really makes sense, because sometimes people are wanting to buy many battle packs to sort of army build, but you could one could conceivably get several copies of this and really try to capture the like scenes or iconic scenes from the movie when Iron Legion has been featured, which is very cool. And then the new Hydra I think is great. And then besides that, we essentially have this like Hydra base build, which is the majority of the build. A lot of battle packs will have like a kind of a vehicle build, or some sort of terrain, or some kind of actual like building besides the minifigures. And I think this is a pretty serviceable one here. It's not like a vehicle like some of the Star Wars stuff, but it is pretty darn good. And it's not huge. It's also not too small. It feels about right. There's some good stuff in here, and I think it looks really, really good. So this is kind of a Hydra fortress, and this structure is maybe kind of an outer wall or kind of a barricade type thing. And this is really cool. It starts, it's not that deep, maybe 6 studs at the widest here. Starts with a big 2x plate, and then we add a couple of these rounded plates in there. We build that up using some masonry bricks in here, which is nice, as well as some inverted slopes, kind of regular slopes throughout there. It is in snow. This is in Sokovia, I believe. So there's like snow here, which feels right. We do use kind of these teeth pieces to indicate sort of snow on there, which is really good. And then we have kind of more of that masonry brick stuff and kind of a mirroring of the expansion of different things. So you can see what the side looks like. It kind of flares out down here. It has these inverted slopes here, inverted slopes up there, which is really nice. And we have the window kind of pieces in there as well. I think this is really great. And then besides that, there's some like playability here. There's other little details, leaf pieces, nice contrast. At the back, we have some of these vented pieces here. And then up top, we have these like blasters or turrets or cannons or whatever there, which is really nice. So using the trans purple, same as the, stud shooter had there. Again, maybe a reference to kind of Chitauri stuff, which is very cool. These cannons rotate. They can rotate all the way around. They're just on a basic 2x2 turntable. They don't fire anything. The builds look pretty good. They can't like angle up and down at all. They can rotate. They may run into each other in the center there, but it's not too bad for the most part. And I think these are overall a good approximation here. They do use the like double-sided hilt or the longer hilt there, as well as the modified 1x2 with the like bar elements coming off of it, and then just a a simple jumper and a clip piece there. I think those are really nice. It maybe would have been better if they could angle a little bit. I don't know how much that would have added to the top, but if these could, if we added, instead of these 2 plates in here, like a hinge piece, that the hinge piece could swivel like with this, and then we could lean them up and down, that might be appreciated. But as is, I think it's perfectly reasonable. Those are kind of more decorative because they don't have specific functionality in this Lego set, but then we do have the center kind of console here, which does. So we do have 2 other stud shooters there, again with the kind of translucent purple in there, same as the stud shooter that the minifigure can hold. And this one also spins. You're a little bit limited here. It's on a turntable, but because of the kind of barricade walls here, there's not a full 360 amount there. This one you can lean because it is clipped on. So this can kind of lean down, can lean back, which is good for aiming this. And these can be, fired off like 1 by 1 or at the same time, just like any other stud shooter. There is a printed piece, a control panel in here, no stickers in this set at all. And then we do have an area where a minifigure, perhaps the Hydra, or almost certainly the Hydra agent, Hydra Soldier, would operate this. And again, we can see what that looks like. It looks pretty good when they're back there. There's not like, this is limited, but it's nice because doesn't feel like really outrageous gaps anywhere. So I feel like that's pretty good. I like that they're not like sticking up too far. It still feels that these walls or these areas, these sections that have the turrets up here are, taller than them. So you do get the clearance there, but also so it gives a better sense of scale than if they were, sticking up really, really far. So I think that's all pretty good. And then technically you do get a place to store their accessory, their kind of stud shooter when they're not using it, which I always appreciate, always like to make notice of. And so we have that here as well. So if they're piloting this, they can use that. They can step off. They can grab their accessory here. Makes it harder to lose this, and it's just really nice to keep everything together, in my opinion. So I really value that. And that's kind of the whole build for the kind of area here for this barricade. I think this is pretty good. I don't know how much like Hydra base stuff Lego has done. I don't think very much, if any. Part of this reminded me a bit of, there was the other set from kind of the Age of Ultron era, the oh shoot, it's got like Hulk and Hawkeye and bunch of other, the Avengers Assemble Age of Ultron. So in that one, they do have, I believe, more of the same Hydra agents that are Hydra soldiers that are in this one. And that one does have some kind of vague base type stuff. It's not exactly the same color scheme or piece usages as this, but it could maybe be adapted to be that way. I haven't built that set or looked at it on the channel yet. It's something I considered doing, but it's pretty expensive for what it is, so I'll have to see how I feel about that. But that one, would be nice if they kind of had more similarities. It would be nice if they could kind of interact with each other or combine to make this, more relevant to other sets. There's not really great ways out of the box to connect this with other versions. I think it would be very easy to, change a little bit of this to make that possible, whether that's with the clip and bar system that they like doing. It would be as simple as, changing out these slope pieces on the back, and then we could start clipping stuff on to make a more robust wall or barricade there, which is certainly possible. But out of the box, if people were going to buy, multiples of this set in order to get, many of the Hydra soldiers and the Iron Legionnaires, there's not like a just perfect way to combine the builds for those. I think it would be really doable if I had two of these. There's probably simple modifications that could be made, that maybe you add, like, instead of just two kind of pillars here, you add the third one and have another turret kind of in between there. You would have some leftover pieces from the second one, but that would kind of build this out. Those leftover pieces from not having, another one of these pillars, instead of doing like 4, could be used to maybe increase the height a little bit of some of that stuff. So I think there probably is easy enough ways to combine them. There's just nothing that like Lego intended out of the box to be able to do, which maybe they should have. The other kind of notable exclusion, which recently in a lot of these sets, they've included those newer kind of clear pieces to do like posing and action stuff. They are usually like clear. They might have like a hollow stud and a bar element and different stuff. They're in the end game final battle. They're in the, I think they're in the Avengers Tower. I think they're in the Spider-Man final battle, like quite a few of them. And those are used to like, and they've also been in Creator 3-in-1 sets at this point, and lots of other stuff, because they're a very useful piece. But one of the uses is being able to, position stuff in a kind of action way, sort of frozen in time. And you don't get any of those pieces here. We get like the extra pieces for the repulsors sort of there, but we don't get like even a big disc, or sometimes with Iron Man things they would use like these splat pieces and allow that to make him kind of stand up from the floor or something. We don't get any of those. and it would have been nice to maybe be able to position the Iron Legionnaires as if they were kind of circling this compound, circling this barricade, or, you know, approaching. And there is space, there are open studs that, you know, could allow for some of these characters to look as if they're, you know, suspended in the air a little bit, and maybe, you know, the Iron Legionnaire is landing on this and another one's flying back here, and maybe Iron Man is sort of up in the air in front of this or attached at a different place. I think that would have been really nice. I guess I sort of understand why that wasn't included, but on another level, I think that's like could go a long way, because as is, there's not like a great way to display this if people were intending to display this without some modifications. You know, just having the figures all like studded down, kind of standing, isn't the most visually evocative. It's sort of bland and simple. So I think that would have been nice, either using those like splat elements to and a disc piece, or using those new clear pieces for like posing figures in an action spot. I think would have been really cool here, but this is a pretty small set, so maybe that was one of the things they determined was out there. But because we do get extras of all of these, like these 1x1 studs in clear, and extras of the cylinder pieces there, maybe could have swapped out, you know, all of these for one or two of those pieces. I know that the amount of plastic probably isn't identical, but just if I had to give something up, like that's where it would be. That would have been a nice inclusion, but easy enough again to adapt that. So yeah, there are some things that are left out here, things that are not perfect. I think overall this is really quite good. This build is quite good, and I think the figures that are in here are very good, and happy to have all of those at a somewhat reasonable price. You do get 6 rather of the, you know, translucent purple stud shooters. So that's 2 studs for these projectiles, which there's 2 loaded in here, 1 in each one. There's 1 loaded in the one stored at the back, so we have an extra for each one of those. You do get all of the extra kind of repulsor and blaster and different stuff for the Iron Legionnaires and Iron Man. And then in terms of extra pieces, we have 3, which are the triggering piece for the stud shooters, and an extra of each of these kind of studs there, the translucent light blue and translucent purple, or maybe, yeah, I think that's trans light blue, and then the trans purple there. So you do get extras of those. And this set is 135 pieces, 4 minifigures, retails for $20. I was able to get it on sale for $16, which is 20% off. I mean, I think that's a fair price, you know, for new figures. I don't know if the Legionnaires are in other sets yet. I'm thinking maybe they will be, because they kind of redid them here. So I know that the Hydra Soldiers are in at least one other set. And then in terms of like this version of the Iron Man and these Iron Legionnaires, I kind of hope that they would be around, but as is, off the top of my head, I think these are the only sets that these come in, or this is the only set that these come in, which is really kind of special. And so for that kind of stuff with the new figures in there, I think it's worth it kind of for that alone, depending on how these are valued. You know, they're pretty readily available, so I don't know how valuable they would be loose, but I don't think the Iron Legion, yeah, this is the only set that this new Iron Legion figure is in, and you get 2 of them. And then for the Mark 43, that's in 2 sets, which are this one, and I want to say the Avengers Assemble Age of Ultron, which also has the Hydra there. So, to get that exclusivity here, long-awaited characters, there's some playability. There's not a ton of display inherently built in here. Super massable to build out an army, which is great. I think this is worth it. I think $20 is actually pretty fair, even though the piece counts, 135, because of the figures. And this is a sizable build too. So I'm pretty happy with the price. Getting it for $16 is great. Anything less than 20 would be good. If it's $4 for each of these figures, or $3, whatever it is, and then whatever this is, I think it kind of breaks down relatively nicely. I think people selling these Iron Legion figures on major sites have them for like $3, $4, $5 a piece. The kind of arbitrary price to put on minifigures is like $5. CMFs are $5. These, because they're relatively common and easy to get, they probably aren't that, and that seems to make sense. But there is a good amount of value in here for me personally, and there's good value here as well. Not perfect. Pretty good though. That was a little bit longer than I anticipated. Forgive me, please. And I think I got a good deal. I enjoyed this, enjoyed talking about it. So very good. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the LEGO videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more LEGO Marvel, and then tons of other LEGO sets from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count, tons of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming LEGO videos. If you want to support the channel by giving money to the channel, you could do that here on YouTube with membership supers and thanks. There's a link to a Patreon in the video description. There's a link to a Buy Me a Coffee. There's probably an affiliate link to buy this set, as well as some links for other products that I use, computer parts and other hardware and things of that nature. So if you're interested, maybe consider checking those things out. Every little bit helps, goes a long way. So I very much appreciate it. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.